Hello there. In this video I want to show you how I changed the tires and the handlebar on my bike and a bit of what came with these changes. So here I removed the old Panasonic 26 by 1.9 inch tires. They were a bit rotten already and I decided to change them now for the Maxxis DTH because I simply couldn't wait any longer. I wanted new tires on the bike. Maybe you can relate to this. So I removed them and installed the Maxxis DTH, which was very easy to do. They went on the rim very easily and they are so much wider. I was really surprised. I know they are wider, but I was actually really surprised by the result. So here's a side-by-side comparison. And also the diameter increased a lot because of the bigger or more voluminous tires. Here is a side-by-side comparison with a 28 inch by 1.5 tire or 40 millimeter tire. And now the 26 inch wheels almost have the same diameter as these. But with this I directly ran into problems with my fenders. That little part change is not as easy as you think in the beginning. And these fenders are really hard to adjust with their fender stays all alloy, which you have to bend. So I managed to somehow get the front wheel or front tire working, but the rear wheel was a lot more effort. The rear wheel was completely stuck at multiple points in the beginning. My first thought was that the little screw up here for mounting the rear fender to the rear triangle was the issue. I had this part lying around from SKS fenders, but it was not wide enough. So I temporarily made it work by just removing this mounting solution up there. Of course now the fenders were loose, but yeah, it worked for the moment. And I was so happy with how these tires looked. So much wider and so nice. Now the clearance was quite tight, maxed out I would say, but it was still fine. And you might see that the rear fender is dented now. I used my adjustable wrench to bend the fenders, but more on this later. On a first test ride I felt that these tires are so comfortable and so nice. I was just very happy about them, but still thinking about the rear fender, which now was loose and rattling. So I decided to go to a bike store and try to find some part that would help me with this. So a longer second test ride with the rattling rear fender, and I went to Stadler, which is a very big bicycle store. They have a big selection of bikes and parts, and I have nothing against the little bike stores, but sometimes it's just nice to have a big store with a big selection of parts. So I went there. What is also nice is that you can bring your bike in there with you. In fact, you can actually ride your bike in there and try out different things, like by holding them next to your bike, for example. Not mounting them, of course. My problem with this place, though, is that I quickly get distracted by all the selection of parts from my initial goal. So first distraction Thinking about a rear rack. I miss a rear rack on this bike so much. Quite affordable, but I don't know how well it will last. Then SKS spare parts, but unfortunately no part like the one I've shown you before. So not really a solution here. I tried on this rear mud flap, distraction number 2, because I had removed the Fahrer Latz on the rear. It just looked a bit too overkill. Then handlebars. This is the one I've mentioned before I wanted to buy. This one also looked nice, but the clamp size was too wide. So I took the opportunity and hold it to my bike, and as you can see the direct comparison here, it's a bit narrower but longer reach. So I decided to get this one. I also took the opportunity to compare some other fenders, because I'm not happy with these alloy fenders anyways, but these 65mm SKS Blümels didn't look wide enough for these tires. Also a lot of wheels there. The ZAC 2000 rim here is very narrow in my opinion, so I might not get it for my wide tires. Yeah, selection of 26-inch wheels here, not only 28. Also the dynamo hub I'm considering buying, more affordable than a Son hub. So yeah, I'm thinking about getting my wheels from here, because I don't have to order them online then, and they're reasonably priced for this old bike. Then after all the distraction, finally a part for my rear fender. I don't know what it's for, but it fits. So I went back out there with my new handlebar and the little part. Handlebar stored in my Barber Beaufort's game pocket. Sometimes very convenient for storing things when you don't have a bag. And I decided to park my bike nearby to get some food in the nearby mall. What I ended up getting is Burger King. I know it's not the healthiest food, but sometimes I can't resist. I just love the Whopper too much. So I enjoyed my little lunch in the sun. On the way back home, some issues. The rear wheel came loose, so I came back with my wheeler bike and the adjustable wrench. And back home with all my bikes, the new solution worked fine. However, the rear wheel still had contact with the rear tire. So I made it work by bending it outwards on the sides with my adjustable wrench, resulting in these dents here. Now I have some hammered look. What do you think about it? I also fitted the new handlebar in. I was really happy about it. The old handlebar was a bit bent, and now I feel safer with the new handlebar. And this is the final result. You have seen in the sneak peek of my last video already. New handlebar and the tires finally working. Again, the clearance of the frame is maxed out with these tires, I would say. I could have a professional dent the chainstays, but I think it's not necessary for now. Then some fender anxiety. The front wheel was still not working properly, because here you can see on the inside of the fork the fenders were a bit bent to fit in there, and here they were touching the tire. Yeah, I fitted this by bending them backwards a bit. So I had to remove the front fender again, and I slowly started to think this was an endless story. But finally everything was ready and working just fine. However, I had learned that sometimes you originally think I will make some quick change to my bike, and then you end up having to spend hours to get new parts and make things really work. In this case with the fenders, which can give you real anxiety because you fix one end of the fenders and then have new issues on another end. Maybe you have made the same experience as well. I think the hammered looks are quite okay in some way, but maybe I should just swap them out in the future for some SKS plastics fenders. What cured my fender anxiety on the test ride was watching this very slow and relaxed going train that made me relaxed too, and from there on I just enjoyed the rest of my test ride. As the next part of my build, I decided to get the wheels, and I will update you on that soon. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!